Hey, what's up guys? Dave Allen back here with Allen House, bringing you an update video. It's been a while since I posted anything, and you will quickly find out why. We've got so many different projects that have come up over the last couple weeks, and just wanted to kind of clue you in on it, give you an update on where we're at, and then hopefully tell you what I'm going to be working on in the next 2 weeks. So let's get started. In the last video, we had moved the 86 chassis, the fully bagged chassis, over here. We put parts on it. We had removed the swing set that was here and got rid of that. And then we also trailered in this broken Yukon from my in-laws' farm. And so we pulled the radiator out and stuck that radiator in my functioning Yukon. Since then, I've gone through this truck. I've taken a window regulator out of this back window, pulled some O2 sensors out and put those in my Yukon, as well as this back window. You can see this etching. This was in my good Yukon. My kids somehow broke the door handle inside. Something got in the way and actually etched this glass. So I pulled the glass out of the broken Yukon, stuck that in with the window regulator into the good Yukon as well. Moving from this truck over to this truck, this is the S10 frame that's fully bagged. We moved this out of the way over here to the side because we have actually attempted to do grass in this backyard. So it doesn't look like it from here because it's full of pine needles right now, but we actually tilled this entire area. We put down soil, topsoil, and some fertilizer and some bags of dirt, about 60 bags of dirt to help level this area over here, raise it up. And then we blanketed it with seed, like I said, fertilizer. Been watering it, and it's getting cold, so we're trying to get some stuff settled before it freezes. So my wife was actually the one that has taken on the tilling and the seeding and the fertilizing project, because I've been working on some other projects like this fence. So this entire fence was leaning this way because all of the posts that are along this fence every 8 feet had become disconnected. They'd become disconnected about 4 to 5 inches under the dirt. They've been here for about 13 years. They were not concreted in, and so they just wore away and wore away. So they slowly became disconnected, leaned over this way, and it was really diving into my neighbor's yard, which is not good. So I had a buddy of mine come over, and in one day we took apart about 30 feet of the fence. We dug out the posts, we concreted in new posts. We came back later on that day. It was dried up. We were able to hang the new fencing and reuse a lot of the old fencing. So that's why it's kind of patchy. You can see old patch here, new patch down there. We reused a bunch of the patches, sections I should say. We took it apart in sections. We were able to put that back up with new posts behind it. Now it's straight as an arrow, looking real nice. Next is our solar environment that we've got on the house. Now, previous video you've seen where we've got 4 panels up on the roof. It's getting to be winter time, so we have less usable daylight. I picked up 4 new panels that are just kind of sitting here right now. I've got it on my temporary connection here, so any little bit of light that they do pick up is actually coming in. I know they're not helping much right now, but I've got to redo the cable housing that's plastic. You can see after 2 years it is looking like an S shape, like a wave. So I'm redoing that in metal to go all the way up to the roof, and then I will get up there, and I've got all the mounts so I can put these 4 new panels up there, which will give me a total of 800 watts of solar up there. Also, in addition, I picked up some of Jehu Garcia's battery units to build 18650 battery packs and 24 volt setups. And so I'm going to transition from my lead acid during the winter time over to lithium ion. It's going to be kind of a slow process. I'll document that along the way, but I should go from about 700 watt hours all the way up to 2.2 kilowatt hours. So that'll be a huge improvement. It'll be lithium, so I can use much more of the battery life, if you will. I can use more of the top end, and they can drain further than the lead acid. So that'll be helpful. So in addition to working on the Yukon, the fence, moving the solar stuff set up, moving this bagged frame over, done general maintenance, had to do brakes and an oil change on the Honda, and also oil change on the Yukon. The Honda is my wife's minivan. But a friend of mine at church was in a bad spot. He's had a bunch of financial challenges. He was looking for a cheap $1,000 beater car, A to B type car. And so I said, hey, I can always find $1,000 cars. So I went on Craigslist, worked out a deal, picked up a 91 Accord, 4-door Accord in really good shape, and needed a couple things like a window regulator. Window regulators have been a thing recently. Needed a window regulator. It needed some mirrors. One of the mirrors was cracked, the side mirrors. Needed a couple extra things. Needed a full clean and detail, and just really went through the car. So I got it for about $800. Went to the junkyard one day, pulled some parts, came back, put it together, and then I had some guys at my church say, you know what, we want to help him out, so they pitched in. They actually paid for the car. So new tires on it, got an alignment done. They paid for everything on the car. We just handed them the car and said, here you go. So that was super fun. It was a quick project, but again, it's just something else we've got going on. All right, last but not least, sorry for the horrible lighting, but we're in the stairwell to my basement. And this is the last project that I'm halfway through, as you can see. See drywall up here. I'm going to show you some shots of what I had. This was all plaster, had big cracks going through it, and I went ahead and last week I had to build a false floor, which you'll see in this video. That false floor allowed me to demo the plaster in various spots. Had to really focus on keeping the ceiling intact, and as well on the far wall here, had to keep a nice even ledge, a straight line going down to butt up with new drywall. This project was needed. We've been wanting to do it for about 2 years, and we've seen it over the last 6 months get really bad. Pieces starting to almost crack and pop out on themselves, and we just didn't want to come home and have plaster all in our basement and a huge mess to clean up. Figured we would control it, so I'm going to put in some video from that right now. All right, so here's the frame. We've got just a basic kind of 24-inch on center that I can put some plywood on. I've got a cross bracing down here onto these legs, and then another cross bracing at the bottom just to keep it sturdy. And then I've got some 2x4s here that I'm going to put some plywood up against for this wall, and then also a couple pieces tagged in here so that I can put some plywood here. I'm going to drape plastic from the bottom. There's actually a wooden rim down here to catch any of the plaster when they were making the walls. And I'm just going to staple in there, drape it around. So plywood, 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 and off we go. All right, so the basement is the last project, but recently, over the past couple months, my boys and I have been going out to the BMX track. I used to race competitively about 20 years ago when I was really young. Ran between 16 and 18 years, I guess 15 and 18 years old. We all raced bikes and got super into it. Was actually placed really well in the state qualifiers here for Virginia for 16 to 17-year-old. And so anyway, there's a local track now that's legit. It's super nice. It's a sponsored track, and so we've been going out there the past couple months, getting them excited about it, and went out last weekend, did some racing. I have no footage of it because I didn't know what was going to happen. First time on a gate start in 20 years, and it was a blast. I took my 5-year-old. He actually ended up racing too and did great. But I've been working on my bike. So this is my 24-inch cruiser. I picked it up off of Craigslist a couple years ago. Just been tooling it around town, but did need, when I started going to the track and really looking at it as something that we might end up doing, the gearing on it was meant for street riding. So it's got a super small 9-inch cassette in the back, freewheel, and then it was running a 25 tooth sprocket, which makes sense. It's not a bad gearing, but I ended up bumping up to a 28 tooth sprocket, which allows me, once this bike gets moving, this thing is hard to beat, because with the big wheels, the 24-inch wheels, and that gearing, the thing just cooks down the track. So anyway, it's it's made by Stolen Bikes. It is 24-inch Saint, which is their cruiser, and yeah, swapped out the tires, swapped out the pedals, and then that front sprocket. But outside of that, just kind of cruising it around. So in addition to that, with my wife training for this marathon, we've been all over the map. But anyway, that's a quick catch up of the projects that are actively going on right now here at the Alum House, and what's coming up. Next video, I'm going to be starting work again, like I said, on the air management system for our bagged 54 project, and hopefully we've got the last race of the season tomorrow, and so hopefully I'll get some footage of that, maybe a little bit of footage of that, and just show you guys that track and kind of some favorite pastime of ours as a family. So anyway, that's it for now. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.